Okay, y'all, I wanted to talk about Ari Lennox going off on Joe Budden and why I think she is completely justified. I think a lot of people are being very unfair to her. Let's go. All right, y'all, make sure that you're going to www.zeraxia.com. When you join the wait list there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, this sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff. So just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. It's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zeraxia, The Vengeance of Cold Wind, right? And go to Zeraxia.com, sign up, join the wait list, get your free chapter. Thank you so much. So Ari Lennox opened for Rod Wave on his tour, and essentially the way that she was treated on this tour was a mess. It went pretty bad. They were throwing bottles at her and stuff. I definitely didn't expect someone like Ari to be opening up for an artist like Rod Wave. I was not alone in that sentiment, right? I thought the audiences were mismatched. And that was that. But the audience, they were heckling her, harassing her, throwing shit at her. She said it was all darkness and dark energy there. And like I said, I would have expected some kind of aggression from these knickknacks, right? And so when I saw this happening, I thought that maybe it was her team that made a mistake or something, but she addressed all of this in a live where she talked about her experience. Ari essentially said, I'm gonna just go through it. Ari essentially said that everybody in general, isn't necessarily welcome and understanding to every type of music, whether you get it or not. Like she was saying that I don't go to a show, I don't pay to go to a show and plot on ways to attack or antagonize or disrespect an artist that's on stage. Whether I'm, a super fan or not, whether I listen to your music or not, I'm just paying attention to everything. She said to be treated like that, I'm not the first. There's tons of people who've experienced violence and disrespect. She said, I was on that stage and people would have shit on their screens like next. So they're like showing their phones like to her, and on their phones, they would have in big letters next so that she could see it. She said, I can't deal with shit like that. I'll flick you off. I'll cuss you out. I don't play that because I would never do that to you. I would never let anyone do that to you. It's one thing to hate me. That's fine. But it's another thing to be like, get this bitch off the stage and have your little signs or assault me. It's like, what is this aggression? Like, you're that pissed? She said she got her wardrobe stolen. It was very hard. It was very lonely. She said, I thought it would be a good idea. This is where my ears kind of perked up even more, because I was like, okay, you're talking about the decision that was made for you, even like the reason why you're even on the show in the first place or on the tour in the first place. She said, I thought it would be a good idea. I always ask my agents, like, can I open up for Red Hot Chili Peppers? Can I open up for Little Dragon? And I remember my agent telling me these things have to make sense. So when I got this offer, so when this offer came up, essentially she's saying when this offer came up to work with Rod Wave, it was like similar to that, where I was like, of course, I would love to do it. This is a great time, a great opportunity to show people I can really sing and get some fans. But I was wrong. And now I get why. No, it does not make sense to open up for just anybody. I don't care who you are, for anyone. It just doesn't matter. She's like, maybe some fans are sweeter than others, but that type of music, I'm good. It's a certain type of energy where people are disrespectful as hell. She said she watched it happen with Rico Nasty. I remember seeing that, right? She's like, wow, there's the specific type of fan base where y'all are literally aggressive. I'm like, okay, like I got to worry about getting touched, and I'm just here doing a job that you're actually paying, like you're paying for me to do my job right now. She said, I'm good. So that's basically an overview of what she said about her experience. I don't see nothing wrong with that. She was just calling you niggas out. It was just like, okay, I don't know. I just think it's very important that she got up there and said the things that she did, because it's one thing to not be feeling an opening act or opening artist, but it's another thing to be tossing shit at a Black woman artist and harassing her while she's working up there. It's just like, okay, girl, you don't like the music, you don't like that shit, which is what she was saying. She's like, I'm not a super fan of everybody, but I'm not going to sit there, go to a show and go out of my way to be disrespectful to somebody who's literally on the stage that you're paying to see. That's all she's saying. And then people like Joe Budden keep criticizing her, and she's a victim in this situation. I feel like they haven't listened to what she said, because they keep bringing up, oh, her team this, her team that, her team fucked her over, her team. And it's just like, yes, that was a very weird decision to put those two audiences together, to put Ari Lennox's audience with Rod Wave's audience. Like, I would have never did it. But Ari went on record, you know what I mean, on live, to say that she was the one, essentially, that was trying to go for these, unique kind of collaborations, because she was like, well, I could reach out to a different kind of fan base. And in theory, that would work. Like, in theory, just because you listen to somebody's sound or whatever, one type of genre, one type of sound, it doesn't mean that your ears automatically close up when another style of music or another kind of artist gets on the stage, right? Like, in theory, that would work. Like, let's just share music, but it don't. Like, it just don't, especially with you nignogs. Like, especially with you nignogs. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm seeing people like Joe Budden criticize her team, when she literally said, hey, I kind of wanted my team to make these unique collaborations. And she said she learned quickly. She learned that everybody ain't as open-minded as her when it comes to music, and that there are certain fan bases who are aggressive, so she won't be doing that kind of shit again. And I just feel like people like Joe Budden are still going out of their way to drag the hell out of Ari, when it's like, she said what she said. She understood what happened. She understood that the audiences were mismatched, and yet you still going in. Joe Budden tried to say on this podcast, well, we love you, Ari, you're talented, but they went in to completely try and discredit her own experience, like what she was saying. He was like, if you can tour, period, it's a blessing. But if you don't want to do the tour, don't tell us, tell your team. If Rod Wave is getting numbers, you at least have to entertain the idea of doing the tour. You have to work your way up to saying no to things like that. Then he turned around and said, well, just call Jasmine Sullivan and set something up if you're really that bothered. Essentially, he said, I just don't like you grabbing your phone to tell the audience how miserable you were when you didn't tell your team, or you told them and then they didn't really care. He said he don't want to hear about her being a victim. What else did he say? Self-improve on your own, heal on your fucking own. What else? Then this bird gonna say on the podcast, she gonna say, oh, well, Ari said that this whole situation was affecting her mental health. And of course, that was only a bait for Joe Budden to say what he said next, which was essentially downplaying the entire idea of mental health in the fucking first place. So they said that, what did they say? They said that she was using it as a marketing ploy, like the topic of mental health and it being, so this tour being so hard on her mental health. They said that she was using it as a marketing ploy. And to me, I'm just like, so all Ari said was, even if you don't like this particular style of music or the artist that's there, like, y'all are paying for this shit. Why take your time to go and disrespect somebody who's on stage, toss bottles at a Black woman who's on stage? And then so Ari responded to what Joe Budden was saying, and she said, tell him to stop touching them dogs. She said, tell him to stop touching them dogs. I don't understand why he's so obsessed. And I'm gonna talk about, because this is not the first time Joe Budden has said something about Ari Lennox, and that's why she's saying, like, why is he so obsessed? Why are you so bothered? He's weird and this is what she said. He's weird and he's gross. He has smoke mouth and he's disgusting and he's a failure, like Drake said. God. I don't know why he's obsessed. Like, everything I do, I can never just express what's going on with me without him coming from behind the trash, the landfill that he lives in, to say something. He always has to say something, and I don't know why. He is disgusting, and I know his breath stinks. I know in my heart that his breath stinks. Damn, okay, you know it. You know it for that. You know it that certainly. You know it with that, amount of confidence, girl. I mean, I don't blame you. I feel like I know same thing. Anyway, she said, maybe I have to sue him. Do I have to get on my Cardi B shit and spin the bread to shut his smoke mouth up because he is disgusting? He is a lame. This man has never in his life validated the truth. He just loves to oppose everybody. He just loves to oppose everybody. Who hurt him? I don't know what woman hurt him. I don't know. He'll never acknowledge the truth. I can't just ever talk to my people without him being psychotic. I should literally just drop $20K to sue him. I really should, just because. She said, it's embarrassing of Joe to hate black women so much. And I'm just, now keep in mind, Joe Budden is Mr. accused of domestic violence. Like, that's his shtick. That's his thing, okay? Allegedly caused his ex-girlfriend, Esther Baxter, to miscarry their child after a fight, allegedly, right? So Ari said he hated black women and that he was obsessed, remember? And in 2020, there was a tweet that said, Ari Lennox and Tiana Taylor's ability to have dangerously high sex appeal while simultaneously looking like Rottweilers will always amaze me. So Ari then took to Instagram to go off on this behavior, saying that how people hate black people so much, how black people can sit up here and say that's not my problem, or she does look like a Rottweiler. You want to talk about how people are so sensitive, they want us to cancel freedom of speech. Why is this your speech? Why are you so comfortable tearing down black women? Then in 2020, Joe Budden took to his podcast to essentially call Lennox insecure. Does anything about the Ari Lennox thing scream insecurity to you? Insecurity. How you feel about you versus what people feel about you versus how what people feel about you does to how you feel about you. And I'm just like, girl, you really thought you ate that. Anyway, insecurity. And while there may be variations of it or different reasons of why it stems, insecurity is insecurity. As we would expect, instead of y'all taking the time to listen to this black woman say, hey, like, girl, I understand that y'all might not like music, but why y'all treating black women like this on stage? I understand you may not like my music, but whatever, but why you have to go and treat me like this on stage? In 2020, she was saying, wow, y'all calling black women Rottweilers and shit, saying they have sex appeal, we can fuck them, but they look like Rottweilers in the face. And it's just like, y'all just want me to sit here and say absolutely nothing. But when each time she responds, people like Joe Budden are like, oh, well, she's insecure. She's silly as hell. She don't know what she's talking about. Trying to, downplay the things that she's experiencing and also implying that she's stupid as fuck, And so I can understand why Ari Lennox is just like, this man is obsessed. Every time I'm just speaking about my experience, the painful parts of my experience with you, Nick Knox, and instead of addressing that experience, you're trying to victim blame my ass. You're trying to say, oh, well, the reason why I don't want to, be called all type of Rottweilers is because I'm insecure. No, girl, I'm hopping on social media and saying y'all treat black women like this. I'm trying to let y'all know that this shit feels disgusting. This shit feels horrible. And that it seems to be some kind of trend that y'all take pride in. Why is that? That's all she's saying. Why is that? And each time y'all try and make it seem like Ari Lennox is this crazy woman who's just so sensitive, so too sensitive. She don't know what she's talking about, and she's silly as hell, and she's insecure. And it's just like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. She's talking about real experiences that happen not only to her, but also other black women in the industry. You know what I mean? In entertainment, black women, period. Right? And instead of listening to what she's saying, y'all finding a way to, or you're trying to find a way to bury her, when all she was doing was talking about her experience and how you nignogs contribute to this nasty ass experience that she had to navigate. I don't understand why is she made out now to be this villain in y'all's head? It's very weird. And like y'all can say, especially with this Rod Wave situation, you can say, oh, well, Joe Budden had points, whatever. Yes, like I said, those audiences were mismatched. But then when you take the time to actually listen to what Ari Lennox was saying and listen to the fact that she said that, oh, I wanted to have these, unique collaborations. I wanted to go in front of these different kinds of artists and bands and open up for them or whatever to see if I can reach across and get different kinds of fans. Like, once you listen to her logic, then you can be like, okay, I understand why that decision was made. And even she said afterwards, she ain't doing that shit again. So for people to sit up here and make it seem like she's this idiot who doesn't know what she's talking about, or that her own experience was less dramatic than she's making it seem and she's too sensitive, it's just like, I don't get it. I'm glad she's threatening to sue y'all, and I'm glad she's calling out your activities with animals, and you ain't no zoologist, Joe. Okay? So thank y'all so much for watching. I love y'all so much. Make sure you check my description box for everything, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.
So lonely, insecure, they don't control me. I ain't the only person, holy worship me. Yeah, you can